Item number 70, Council, is a special item from Council that we're taking up at a different hour than our normal consent agenda. This is an item from Council brought forward by Councilmember, lead sponsor, Councilmember Leffenwell, but also I'm proud to join him along with Councilmember Kraken in item number 30, which is a brief presentation from staff and approval of an ordinance amending the city code regarding coal tar pavement products. And we'll welcome Ms. Nancy McClintock. Folks, if you all could please take your conversations out in the foyer, we'd appreciate it. We have a couple more important public hearings to take up.
Thank you, Council. Yes, I need this. It's this one, right? Thank you. This is the third in a series of 3 public hearings on this proposal for a ban on coal tar-based pavement sealants. The industry has been invited tonight, and there are representatives from both the local and national industry here. We also have representatives, scientists and engineers from the Watershed Protection and Development Review Department, from the Legal Department, and from the Health Department to answer any questions that you might have. If you look on the far right, those are the concentrations that we were seeing in Barton Creek, and of course we are very concerned about those because that is an area that is immediately above the pool. And so we continue to go back and look at that area, and we continue to get high concentrations. And so we started to go up and down Barton Creek to try to trace the source of those sediments. We found some other hot spots in the creek, but we ultimately landed back up in a dry tributary not too far above the pool, and we started taking samples up into that tributary. And as we went up the tributary, this is a graph that shows you in general all the places that we sampled in that tributary. The 2 bars in the bottom are below Barton Springs Pool and in Barton Springs. The 3rd bar heading to the right is what we saw right immediately above the pool. And then as we traveled on up into the tributary, the concentrations got higher and higher. If you look at the y-axis here, that is on a log scale. So the concentrations are increasing very rapidly as we went up the tributary. When we had that data just from the tributary, we started contacting our colleagues from across the country to try to get find out if other people or other municipalities, other researchers were seeing these kinds of concentrations. And essentially nobody could really... nobody had comparable data to this because most people were not looking for PAHs and sediments in small streams. And nobody could really account for these very high concentrations. We know that at the top of this tributary was a parking lot, and we know all the typical sources of PAHs in parking lots. Motor oil, automobile exhaust, automotive fluids of all type, asphalt itself. But we know what the concentrations of PAHs look like from those sources, and none of them could justify these very high concentrations that we were seeing. We went on up into the parking lot and started looking at the parking lot. Of course, we had been doing that for quite a while. And we even knew about pavement sealants at that time. But one of the investigators in the Watershed Department had one of those aha moments looking at pavement sealants when he realized that not all pavement sealants are alike, and that some of them, in fact, contain coal tar, a very, very potent source of PAHs. In summary, PAHs are a very high-profile pollutant of growing concern nationwide. The concentration, the increases that I showed you in Town Lake are mirrored across the country wherever these PAHs are being tracked over time. This research has really unearthed a major new source of PAHs, and the exciting thing for us in the watershed protection area is that most pollutants are extremely difficult to control. Sometimes they're simply things that we can't control. The PAHs that we get from automobile emissions, as an example. This one is controllable. It's not mandatory. We don't have to do away with cars, and we have an alternative. And so it represents a very exciting opportunity to make a significant improvement with a single act. We think that the combination of data that we have provided here for you, the chemical tracing, the laboratory toxicity, and our field studies provide ample evidence for you to take this action at this time. So I thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. McClintock.
Nancy, before you step away, this is such an extraordinary piece of work. Will you just recognize and announce the names of your team members that are standing over there by the wall?
Thank you very much. Tom Ennis, there's Mitzi from the legal department, David Johns, Layla Gosselink is here somewhere. There's Layla. Tom Bashara, who is the investigator who, in fact, had that aha moment and realized that some of the sealants contain coal tar. And who am I missing, guys? Mateo Scoggins, our biologist who did most of that biological work. Thank you.
I just think that the city needs
much
to recognize the extraordinary talent that we have on city staff. Amazing work, you guys.
Yes, thank you.
Now, Toby. I was going to do that later, but thank you for doing it. But I think it has to be said, too, that this entire project has had the great cooperation from city staff, from the city manager on down, and I thank you, too, as well as this fine staff that's done this great amount of work, great body of work.
I'm too proud a mother figure up here. See, I just couldn't hold, could I?
Thank you.